All right, welcome to the first ever Wisconsin ACAC virtual college exploration event for all Wisconsin students. My name is John McReel. I'm the past president of the Wisconsin ACAC, and I'm very excited to be the facilitator for this session entitled Peak to Peak, Why You Should Study in Colorado. And I do want to give just a few quick reminders and I will turn it over to the panel. There is a Q&A button that you're able to ask questions of the panelists during the session as well as towards the end. So make sure you are using that as much as you want, as little as you want, because I know this group of three are eager to answer those questions for you. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. That's why the question and answer box is important. You are able to sign up for more sessions on the WCAC website that's listed right on the slide for you, as well as if you are looking at sessions, you're like, hey, this one that happened on Monday about studying outside the state of Wisconsin looked really interesting as well. I wasn't able to make it. All recordings will be available on the website as well, and they should go up in about a week or so after the event concludes. So with that, I am going to stop showing my screen. I'm going to shut up and turn over to this esteemed panel of Colorado Council.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for our webinar today on why you should study in Colorado. We are going to briefly introduce ourselves, and then we will get started with the presentation. So I'm going to begin. My name is Megan Miller, and I am an assistant director in the Office of Admissions at Colorado State University, which is located in Fort Collins, Colorado. And now Jen is going to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Gross. I am actually based in the Chicagoland area. I'm a Midwest Regional Director, so I work with students in the Midwest for the University of Denver. And so Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois are my territories. I look forward to talking to you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Allie Springer. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission. I do cover recruitment for Colorado College in Wisconsin, as well as a couple other states in the Midwest. And I'm going to start sharing our screen and sharing the presentation now. So I'm going to turn it over to Megan in just a second.
Awesome. Thank you all. So thanks again for joining. Just to give you an idea of what to expect from our presentation today, we are going to start with just a brief overview of Colorado in general and why we think it's a great place to go to college. And then we're each going to take about 10 minutes to tell you about each of our respective universities. So you can learn about 3 different options within the state of Colorado. And then if we have any time left at the end, we really want to answer your questions. So again, please feel free to use that Q&A button and be submitting questions throughout the presentation, and we'll make sure to get to those by the end. Without further ado, we will go ahead and roll right into the presentation. So we're going to start with just talking about why we think Colorado is a great place to be. So starting with just the overall quality of life, I think a lot of people, when they picture Colorado, a lot of folks that I talk to across the country will reference like a lot of snow or blizzards or tough weather. And actually, the statistic is that we get over 300 days of sunshine in Colorado. So it's a very sunny place, and it's one of the sunniest states in the country. And when we do get snow, which we do get snow, it usually melts off by the afternoon. So that's kind of what we're known for, but there is access to a lot of outdoorsy activities. We're one of the healthiest and fittest states in the country. So if you are interested in outdoor recreation, this is definitely a good place to be. And all 3 of our institutions will give you access to the outdoors, hiking, biking, camping, all of those sorts of activities. Next slide. And you do not have to be into hiking and outdoorsy activities and skiing and all those things to enjoy your time in Colorado. There's lots of other draws to consider studying in Colorado. One of those is our economic strength. So when you're looking at colleges, it might be a good idea to look at the area and what types of internships and career opportunities may be available while you're a student and then after graduation as well. So you can see some of our statistics here on overall economic strength and some of the things that Colorado has to offer to get you hands-on experiences while you're a student and after graduation. Next slide. And then you're going to have a lot of different options if you decide to come to Colorado. Hopefully, if you're joining this webinar right now, you're thinking that you might be interested in going to Colorado. So we obviously hope that you'll come to one of our 3 institutions, but there are a lot of really great other colleges and universities in the state as well. So there's a ton of different options and lots of great college towns, and a lot of students are just living in Colorado and studying in Colorado, so it gives you good access to other people who are your age for community and for getting involved in whatever city you choose to move to. So those are just a few highlights of some of the opportunities that our state has to offer you. And now I'm going to shift gears and go into my portion of the presentation. So I'll talk a little bit about Colorado State University, and then we are going to go down the line and each cover a little bit about our respective institutions. So again, I'm representing Colorado State University. We are one of the large public institutions in the state of Colorado. We are in Fort Collins, which is about an hour north of Denver, and we are founded in 1870. So we are the oldest public institution in Colorado. We are founded on the 4 pillars of research, education, service, and extension. So a lot of research opportunities and hands-on learning experiences within our university. You can go to the next slide, Allie. Thank you. And the location is one of the greatest things about all of our universities, because we just love Colorado, as you can tell. But we do really like to highlight Fort Collins, and if it could be a good fit for you. It is a mid-sized town, an hour north of Denver. Definitely known for having a lot of access to hiking, biking, camping, but especially biking. We are a platinum rated bicycle friendly city and campus. There's only 5 platinum rated cities in the country, so biking is a huge part of who we are and what we're interested in. Our old town, Fort Collins area is super cool and gives a lot of access to arts and cultural events as well. Next slide. These are our principles of community, which is something that we like to highlight to kind of describe the culture of the university. They're basically 5 values that we've accepted as an institution to kind of just have common values and common things that we like to promote across the university. So regardless of what background you're coming from, you're going to be with a lot of different people. We have about 26,000 undergraduate students at CSU. So it is one of the big schools in Colorado, but we want you to feel included and respected on our campus with all of those differing backgrounds at CSU. So let's talk about the classroom. I just mentioned that we have 26,000 undergraduate students, so it's a large institution for sure. So we do like to provide this slide to show you that for an institution our size, we have a really great student to faculty ratio, 16:1. So even though we're a big school, we like to keep the classroom as small as possible to give you access to professors and to give you access to those faculty members for support along the way. And then on the bottom of the slide, you can see the average class size for lower level and upper level lectures and labs to just kind of show you that it might start bigger and get smaller as you continue into your degree program. Here's a list of support and enrichment activities. We obviously don't have a ton of time to talk about all these things, so I'm not going to go through them, but just wanted you to see a list of all the things we have to offer. One of the things I liked about going to CSU is just that there's always something to do. That is one of the benefits to a larger institution, is just the broad range of people that are there that start different clubs, that have different support activities and enrichment programs and undergraduate research opportunities. So there's just tons of ways to get involved and get connected and get that support when you're here, and then also enrich your academics if you want to take it to the next level. Next. And then traditions are always really fun as well. That's our mascot. That's Cam the Ram there on the slide. He's very, very popular on campus. And then since we do have such a rich history, we've been around for 150 years. We have a lot of traditions, a lot related to service and getting involved in the community, getting excited about athletics and other events that happen on campus. We do want to just briefly show you what we need in a complete application. This is going to be similar to other schools. And you can see that there's 6 things on here. We're actually only requiring 5 of these for the next year. So I want to be really clear that we are test optional for 2021. So you do not need to provide ACT or SAT results for CSU for admissions or scholarship decisions. They're on there still because you're welcome to submit them. We are test optional, but it will not hurt you if you choose not to submit those scores. Otherwise, those are the other items that we include in the application. And yeah, you can click that next one so that they can see our dates on there. We encourage you to apply in the fall semester of your senior year. And then you have until February 1st to get your application submitted to be fully eligible and automatically considered for scholarship opportunities. And we always like to talk about what makes this worth it and what does that return on investment look like. So our average starting salary has gone up in recent years. Last few years I've worked, every year it's gone up. We're getting more access to job opportunities. We also really like helping students get internships. So lots of really great ways to connect with employers. Some of our most popular programs that have really strong internships are in the health sciences. If you're interested in going into medicine, we have a lot of really hands-on engineering internships, business and marketing internships, as well as strong programs in sustainability, environmentalism, getting outdoors. So regardless of what major you choose, we like to get you outside the classroom and getting those experiences, whether that be through an internship or through research and hands-on learning experiences. So I know that's a lot of information. I'm feeling like kind of rushed because I just want to tell you more about CSU, but hopefully that gives you a brief overview. And I am going to go ahead and have Ali click to the next slide because there's an adorable photo. There's Cam the Ram again, and then hand it on over to Jen.
I love your ram. That is so cute. So again, I'm with the University of Denver, and this is actually a view from campus. We are in Denver, but we are down about 8 miles south of the downtown area. And Denver is about 3 million in population. So you can see we have the Rocky Mountains. All of us have the Rocky Mountains in our own backyard. And because of the weather, 300 days of sunshine a year, snow melting by noon or 1 o'clock, you can do everything that you do in the Midwest, except you can do it almost all year round. So we'll go to the next slide, please. This kind of shows you where our students are coming from. A medium-sized school, we're right around 11,000 total students. So you're looking at a freshman class coming in about 1,400 students, about 6,000 undergrads. But if you look at this, only 30% of our students are coming from the Midwest. I mean, not the Midwest, but Colorado. 21% are from the Midwest. But we have students coming from all over. So that brings in a geographical diversity, but we also have international students coming in as well. When you look at the population, this has pretty much been what it's been since I've been with DU for the last 20 years. It's a lower population for Colorado, but a lot of students from out of state. Next slide, please. This is something that makes the University of Denver really unique. We're on a quarter system. So a medium-sized school puts us in a smaller category. We have small school attributes, but the quarter system puts us in a smaller category as well. So we require 3 out of 4 quarters. And for us, quarters are 10 weeks long. Students will take 4 to 5 classes per quarter. So as you can see with the fall quarter, we're going to be starting up here in mid-September. 10 weeks will take us right before Thanksgiving. And then our students will take their finals for their 4 or 5 classes, and they'll have break from Thanksgiving until that January 4th. So we get 6 weeks off. We get the entire month of December. Now we do offer classes during that winter interim break, and we have students that will do things like Habitat for Humanity, Walk on Wall Street, Galapagos Islands trip, or even classes on campus that might be a little bit more challenging. We'll come back in January, go for 10 weeks, take you to mid-March, which will be our spring break, take your finals, go to spring break, come back for the spring quarter. This works out really well when you look at our break system. When the fall quarter ends, our students go home for Thanksgiving, and that's 1 trip. When other students may have to go back to campus and take finals and then come back home, and that might be 3 trips. We'll go to the next slide, please. So we do have over 100 areas of studies. Being a medium-sized school, you've got a lot of offerings, but then you've got the small school attributes. So you'll have pre-professional programs that might be in the STEM area, pre-vet, pre-med. We have a 6-year law program, which allows students to get a bachelor and a JD degree in 6 years. There's 16 colleges and universities in the country that offer that. Our largest major is going to be business. We're the 8th oldest business school in the United States, and there's some really unique opportunities to do things that you couldn't normally do at every school, like hospitality management and real estate in the built environment. The biological sciences will be our 2nd largest major. Things like ecology, biodiversity, sustainability, cognitive neuroscience. Then I would put engineering at the 3rd. We have a brand new facility for that. We've got some wonderful labs. And when you look at that, we're always doing something for the greater good when it kind of comes down to the academics, especially for senior projects. The engineering program might do something where they reach out and they're working with a doctor in Denver. They worked on a prosthetic where they actually took a, instead of putting the ball and socket with the prosthetic over the limb, they embedded a metal rod into the bone. And they worked with the material engineers to make sure that that would be cohesive with the human body. But then they also worked with the electrical and the mechanical engineers to develop the limb that would attach to the rod. So they're doing some really unique things throughout the program. Our international studies program is ranked 6th in the world. That would include things like public policy, diplomacy, homeland security. Condoleezza Rice got her bachelor and her doctorate from that program. And they have different disciplines in that area where we have centers for things that are going on globally that students can take part in, like economic development with China or Israeli-Palestinian relations. I would say music would be the next largest major. Jazz studies is one of our fortes, and that building also houses our theater department, and they do about 150 performances a year, majority being music, but really great opportunities for those arts in that area. And then I would round it out probably with about 3 of the social sciences. There would be communications, journalism, media study, and psychology, which goes up to PhD. So we've got a lot of great things going on there. Also, we have international dual degree programs. That allows a student, for instance, in our creative writing program. Somebody may do the University of Glasgow program where their senior year, they would study abroad at Glasgow, taking solely creative writing. And then they would continue on for another year and get their master's in creative writing. So they would have a bachelor's from DU, but they would have an international master's degree. And we do that in about 12 different majors. Next slide, please. So as you can see, we're small school attributes. Our average class size is 22. Our professors are teaching most of the classes, and our professors are also advising the students. Our freshmen take a freshman seminar class, and that is 20 students, including themselves, and that faculty member teaching the class is their advisor for the year. Their first year English classes are 20 students. A large class for us might be 100 students. Usually it's about 80 to 90, but then they break into smaller groups for labs and discussion. A lot of hands-on learning, a lot of collaborative learning in the classroom. Next slide, please. So we have, like I said, a lot of experience. 71% of our students are doing internships. And if you're in the business school, you're probably doing 2 or more. There's things like co-ops. It's mentoring programs, there's shadowing programs. There's so many different things you can do that complement getting exposed to a variety of different areas. Where you might come in knowing what you want to do, that's fantastic. If you come in undecided, you're going to find out what you like and what you don't like. I always say, it's really important to find those couple of things at different colleges and universities that help you find out what stands out, what makes that college different. Research for us is one of those areas. We have a Center for Undergraduate Research for our students. So any student that has a desire to do some research can present a proposal to faculty as an individual student or as a group of students and be given $1,500 to work on that project for the year. While they're working on that project, they have a faculty member who's assisting them. And then at the end of the year, they're actually going to publish their findings and present at a symposium. So funded, published, and presenting, all at the undergrad level, help you stand out amongst your peers. And it can be in any major area of study. We had a young lady who was an art major who did studied a 4x4 piece of a pointillist painting and did color theory. We had another gentleman that was working on, he had an idea on a quicker sequencing for genetics. So he actually worked on that his junior and senior year and got into his top choice medical school. And then outcomes are always important. 94% of our students from 2019, that graduating class, had their degree in 4 years or less from DU. And then of those students, 90% of them were employed or in that next level of education. So next slide, please. All right, here's the other one. Every school has a study abroad program, but we're ranked 3rd in the world for ours. Ours is a little bit more unique because it's not a consortium program. It is our own program where our faculty actually go out and they will work specifically with the universities overseas and develop a collaboration with them. So we have over 150 programs that our students can travel to. It's called the Sharing to Global Scholars Program, and any student that has a 3.0 GPA going into their junior or senior year at DU is able to study abroad at no additional cost than what it costs to attend DU for that quarter. Now that quarter system also lends way to studying abroad for a semester, where you would leave in July or August and come back in December with a semester's worth of credit for your quarter's worth of cost. So we cover transportation, visa, added insurance cost, and additional room and board, and students keep all their financial aid and scholarships. You have to have a 3.0 GPA to qualify for that. Next slide. Again, location, location, location. We are 8 miles south of downtown. Our students get to ride the buses and the light rails for free, so you can get downtown in about 12 minutes. Great food place, cultural place, a lot of art and music. And then you can also take that light rail to the airport in another 30 to 40 minutes. Next slide. So these are our deadlines. We have early action, which is not binding, and early decision 1, and that deadline is November 1. Students that are applying November 1 also want to get their financial aid in probably by November 15th, and they will have a decision and their financial aid award by the second week of December. Students applying in January are applying regular decision, and they also have an early decision 2. So early decision 2 is binding, regular is not. Again, you're going to find out that decision early to mid-March. And again, if you have the financial aid piece completed 15 days after that deadline, you're going to get an award. Now, that deadline does not mean every single thing has to be in on the 1st or the 15th. It means you have to hit that send button for your application. And as long as we have the application and everything else within the next 2 weeks, we'll be fine with that application. And we are test optional. We've been test optional. We're going into our 2nd year, and it means exactly that. Do not feel that you need to take a test that's 2 hours on a weekend that's been looming over you because you haven't been able to take it. We are going to look at everything holistically. Type of school, type of curriculum, type of classes. We don't limit the number of students that can come from any one area or high school, but just know that test optional means test optional. And if you have questions, please reach out to any of us about that. Next slide, please. Oh, and this is it. So this is contact information, but there is a QR code up there to learn more. This is going to allow you to create your own view book and find out a little bit more about the University of Denver design specifically for you. So thank you for your time, and I will turn it over to Allie.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, once again, my name is Allie Springer. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission at Colorado College. I'm excited to share with you a little bit more about CC. So first and foremost, like my colleagues have said from the other schools, we're located in another great place in Colorado. We are in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is the 2nd largest city in the state, of course, behind Denver, our capital city. We have about 700,000 residents in the greater metro area of Colorado Springs. And we also have, of course, easy access to all of the outdoors opportunities that we have, biking and hiking trails, 300 plus days of sunshine, everything that my colleagues have mentioned in Fort Collins and Boulder as well. What's really neat about where we're situated in the city of Colorado Springs is actually that we are within walking distance to the downtown center of Colorado Springs. So students have access to this great residential campus with Pikes Peak at our backdrop, of course, the Rocky Mountains at our backdrop, but also you can walk downtown in about 15 minutes, just get off campus, have a breather from campus, and be able to access everything that an urban center has to offer as well. Furthermore, we are the smallest institution being presented today. So Colorado College, we are a top tier nationally ranked liberal arts and sciences college where our classes are capped at 25 and our average class size is actually only 16 students. So we have about 2,200 undergraduate students total, and we only have one graduate program on campus, and that is a Master of Arts in Teaching program with about 25 students every year. So definitely when you think about our faculty and professors, they are focused on our undergraduate students. So all sort of research opportunities and other things that we have to offer on campus is all going to first years through seniors. And so that's nice to know that you're going to have easy access to your professors. That's a huge benefit, I think, to going to a small school and knowing that you could have a class that looks just like this photo here, potentially sitting outside, looking at Pikes Peak, and having that class discussion with your faculty member. Furthermore, one of the things that makes CC really unique is our academic schedule, which is called the block plan. And so this is really unique. We're one of only, there's only a couple schools in the country that operate on this schedule year round. And typically we have 8 blocks a year with 4 per semester. So we still technically operate on semesters. So you're gonna have fall and spring semester divided by about a 4-week-long winter break over the holidays. Then you still get also a full summer break of about 3 months. But each semester consists of 4 blocks, which is equivalent to essentially 4 semester classes. So you're taking just 1 class at a time. So you're essentially getting the same number of courses you would at other schools during the academic year. You're just able to focus on them one at a time. So each block is 3.5 weeks long, and you are attending class Monday through Friday classes during that 3.5 week period. And once again, just focusing on that one subject with your peers. Once again, those small class sizes up to about 25 students, and your faculty member. You all are diving in and immersing yourself on that subject for the 3.5 weeks. Each day, Monday through Friday, typically is about 3 hours of class a day. So usually you're going to be in class from around 9 a.m. to noon. So about 3 hours. If you are in a lab class that block, you might also meet after lunch in the afternoon for a couple hours for lab. Otherwise, typically just about 3 hours in the morning. And I'm gonna go to the next slide here to talk a little bit more about the benefits of the block plan. So one of those things is, of course, the opportunity to do experiential learning, or what we call field study. So you can see there that 100% of students will do field study during their time at CC, and definitely depending on what you want to major in, you may be doing a lot of field study. So really what that means is just being able to get out of the four walls of the classroom and use, you know, somewhere in the Rocky Mountain region. Maybe it might be someplace in Colorado Springs or Denver, but we also do field study that takes place in many, many different areas. And then we do also operate a block abroad system. So we have a lot of students that will study abroad. We have both semester, year, and blocks abroad that you can do. And so you'll see that 80% of our students will study abroad, just because we offer that flexibility of a short abroad experience, but also have the opportunity for you to do a longer abroad experience as well. So definitely getting to know your faculty and professors really well, especially if they're taking you on some field study, or you're going abroad with them for, you know, 3.5 week block to study something. An example of that might be art history in Europe. We've also had an ecology of the coral reef class taught in Belize, where the class will actually get their scuba diving certification, and they'll actually scuba dive and see the coral reef firsthand. Those are just some fun examples of how we do learning on the block plan. And then finally, our campus community, as I mentioned, we are in downtown Colorado Springs. We have about 2,200 undergraduate students on our campus. Pretty similar actually to DU. We actually have most of our students are coming from out of state. So definitely a lot of students, about 15 to 20% are from the Midwest, like you are in Wisconsin. We have about 130 outdoor trips that are offered every year. So whether you're a beginner to the outdoors and never experienced that before, we do have classes that are definitely designed toward kind of dipping your toe in outdoor recreation, if that's not something you've had experience with yet. And then of course, all the way up to, we have students getting their outdoor leadership certification and actually leading trips for their fellow peers and students. Over 100 student clubs and organizations. We also do have varsity club and intramural athletic program, performing arts. A lot of our students will work part-time or do internships as well. So definitely our student body is active and engaged, not only of course in their coursework, but also outside of class and getting life experience outside of the classroom. And finally, just to echo my colleagues and talk just really briefly about our admission timeline. We also have an early action as well as early decision, both 1 and 2 rounds, as well as a regular action application process. And so November 1st or January 15th, early decision 1 or 2 is that binding application. Early action or regular action are non-binding options. So once again, just echoing that our deadlines are November 1st or January 15th. Like my colleagues, we are also test optional. We are going into our 2nd year of being test optional. And so if you do have tests you've already taken and been able to do that, you're welcome to submit those with your application if you would like. But regardless, it's up to you. And then of course, we are being much more flexible with students who typically we would need to see test scores from this year. We are essentially going test optional for all populations. And then we do have 1 supplemental essay, and that's in addition to the main personal statement you'll submit on either the Common App, Coalition App, or QuestBridge application. And so how do you apply to CC? Those are those 3 application forms that we accept. Whichever one sounds familiar to you or that you're already working on filling out is great. We don't prefer one over the other. And then we do meet 100% of families' demonstrated need, meaning essentially we want to make CC an affordable place for students of all income levels and backgrounds. And so we will kind of commit to that middle ground of 100% between your family's estimated family contribution and our total cost of attendance would be met with financial aid and or scholarships for all students, of course, that qualify for need-based aid, and that also, of course, will fill out the application forms by the deadlines and get us everything that we need. Of course, all this information is also available on our website. And finally, just how to learn a little bit more about CC or learn a little bit more about the block plan. We do have virtual information sessions that dive in much deeper to the block plan. We have virtual interviews for students that are going to be applying in this admission cycle, and campus tour and virtual tour if you want to kind of see a little bit more of our campus. All of that is available online, so you can just visit our website there. Here are the general admission emails for each of the 3 of our schools. So if there is any question that you had or any specific question, we are going to take those now. So you're welcome to actually go ahead and drop any questions in the chat, and we can move into our Q&A. So once again, we do encourage you, you have specific questions each to our institutions or just in general about maybe studying in Colorado, go ahead and type those out into the Q&A function now. I'll ask Megan and Jen to probably go back on camera and we'll see if we have any questions. I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen now so that we can see each other.
And those questions, they can be related to us or they can be related to college search in general. We know that you are in a really unique position because you haven't had the opportunities that juniors before you had at the end of your junior year. And so we want to meet you where you're at. So if you have specific questions that you want to ask us as far as different things that are going on or how to continue on with the process where you're at, please feel free to ask those as well.
We'll wait a little bit of time just to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask.
While y'all are asking questions or thinking about your questions, I thought something that might be helpful is just reiterating where the 3 of us are located if you've been to Colorado before or haven't been to Colorado before. So we're covering the north part of the state pretty well. So basically, I went first, and we're Colorado State University in Fort Collins, which is the furthest north. So we're almost up like at the very tip of like northern Colorado. And then you go an hour south and you're at Denver, which is where University of Denver is. Jen covered that. And then another hour south would be Colorado Springs, where Allie is. So we're all within like 2 hours of each other, if that helps at all. And all 3 are kind of directly in a line down the middle of the state, just on the east side of the Rocky Mountains. So all 3 of us have really good access, like right there to the foothills of the mountains to be able to go right into the Rockies and enjoy outdoors. So hopefully that helps a little if you're looking at a map and trying to figure out where we all are. Can you all think of anything else that might be good to go over?
I was thinking if Megan and Jen, since I did share a little bit just about like the offerings we have to learn more, can you all talk a little bit about if you're accepting visitors to campus right now and or what your virtual engagement opportunities are for students to learn more about your schools?
Yeah, absolutely. I am remote, so I don't even think I'll get back to campus until probably January. I usually go back about 4 times a year, but we are going to have students on campus. Right now we're at the 14-day mark, so our students will move on campus in the next, well, in 14 days. Right now they have to check in every day with some COVID questions because we want them to quarantine. We've got hybrid classes, we've got the online virtual, and so there's a combination of different things that our students can do. We also are not having visitors right now because you have students coming from other states, and we really want our students on campus to feel safe, and so we just aren't at that point at this time right now. But you can actually do virtual visits with a student walking around campus, and you can also do virtual information sessions with us.
Yes, all of our information is pretty much the same as that. So students who are current students or incoming students at CSU are on campus right now. Some of them are doing online classes, hybrid or in person, but our admissions office itself is still operating virtually. I'm in my home right now instead of on campus. I miss Fort Collins. It's been like 5 months of working from home for me. But we are not doing in-person tours on campus right now, although similarly we have virtual offerings. So if you go to our admissions website or email that general email that we sent out, we can send you those virtual experiences to connect.
Great, and we have had a couple questions come in, which is awesome. So thank you for your questions, and keep them coming if you have more, because that's why we're here. So Megan, first, can you talk about, there's a question about, does CSU require an essay? And then also I thought we could just have you then talk a little bit about how students are evaluated in your admission process. So maybe if there's any like GPA you're looking for, anything like that. Then Jen, if you just want to quickly, briefly talk a little bit again about your admission process, and I'll do the same and we can wrap up unless there are more questions.
Sure, yeah. So we do require the general personal statement. That is the personal statement that's required for all common applications. So one essay, there's not an additional essay requirement for CSU. So if you've written it for other schools, you can submit that to us. And then we do a holistic review process, so we don't have minimum cutoffs for GPA. Our middle 50% average of students who were admitted last year is 3.4 to 4.0. But you can keep in mind that that means that we admitted 25% of our students below and above those numbers as well. So holistic review, we look at grade trends, your full application, things you're involved in, and you get a chance to advocate for yourself in the process too. So if you're worried about anything, you're always welcome to share that information with us so that we can take it into consideration. Yes, I think that covered the questions.
Yeah, we do a holistic approach as well. And I know that the Common App now has a question about, you know, how is COVID affecting you? So you don't have to necessarily write your essay about that. You can actually respond to that in that section. So I think the essay is probably the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to start up because you're thinking, what do I write about? And I always tell students, you know, don't write about what you think we want to hear. Write about something. Think of it as you're telling us something about you that makes you you, something that's important to you, that you have a passion about. You know, there's always things that, you know, you can highlight, and be really thorough in that application process, because while we do a holistic review, our job is to get you the information you need to make an educated decision to see if our university is right for you. But your job is to get us the best application possible so we have your story and we can advocate for you through the process. So if you look at a Common App or another type of application, they only give you 10 spaces to write those extracurricular areas, and you've got more, you want to expand on it more than the 2-sentence limit, please feel free to do an activities resume or just write up things you've been involved in. And, you know, don't just include school, include church, community, volunteering. Are you in sports? Do you have a job? Do you have family commitments? Everybody's different. And so don't do the comparison of, you know, oh, this person's applying and I'm applying and they're all involved in these areas. That's not important. We're looking at you individually. We want to make sure that you're going to be academically successful at our institution. So it's really taking that holistic approach. And so part of that, again, is being really thorough in what you provide us.
Yeah, similar to my colleagues here, we also do a holistic approach. Yeah, admission to CC is pretty competitive, but we really are looking for students that have taken full advantage of some challenging coursework at their school. We, you know, really do look at students within the context that they're coming from. So what that means essentially is if you go to a school that offers honors or AP or IB classes, to be competitive for CC, we do expect that you're going to be challenging yourself in taking some of those, hopefully, maybe a couple, maybe some, hopefully not all of them, because that would be really stressful. And we want to see, of course, that you're dedicated to your studies. So you're getting good grades, you're doing well. We actually don't publish an average GPA on our website or in any of our publications, simply because it's a little bit confusing, because all schools calculate GPA a little bit differently. But we really are looking for students that have, you know, been focused on their academic coursework, and we're going to look at you, you know, obviously holistically, so your personal experience as well. Like my colleagues have mentioned, what do you do outside of academics? You know, work, family responsibilities, club, sports, any of that stuff. We're gonna take those things into consideration. But I think for CC, first and foremost, kind of definitely your school transcript does matter quite a bit in our process. And we definitely do a deep dive and kind of look at what your school offers, the different curriculum your school has, such as, does it offer any of those advanced courses? What are you taking? How many classes are you taking and enrolled in per year? And then of course the grades that you're getting in those. And then the essay, I mentioned we do have one supplemental essay in addition to the main personal statement you'll submit with the Common App, Coalition, or QuestBridge app. That hopefully you're already either done with or you're working on, or if you're not quite a senior, that you'll be thinking about that next year. So that's a little bit more about our process, but of course you can find the details on our website and or attend an information session for any of our schools if you want to kind of get those details a little bit further for the specific institution. So hopefully that helped answer the question, but if there are any more, we do have about 4 minutes left, so you're welcome to go ahead and enter in any further questions that any of us can speak to. We'd be happy to do that. So until then, we'll just kind of sit tight for a minute, unless Jen or Megan, if there's anything else that you wanted to add or anything else that maybe you thought we could cover if people are thinking of more questions.
Love talking on mute. Okay, so I'm going to ask the students a question. How many of you know exactly what you want to do in college? You can just put I do, yes, or no, I don't. So just type a response into the chat, into the Q&A. I just kind of want to see where you guys are at right now. So yes, I do know what I want to do, or no, I'm not sure what I want to major in. Yes, I think so. Great. That may change. Did you know that? Anybody else? Yep, you've got another one. Awesome. So as you're typing those in, I think it's important to know that, the largest major I think we all have, it isn't a major. It's actually undeclared, undecided, or undetermined. And so about a third of the students over the nation will come into a college or university with inklings about what they want to do or careers that they're looking at, but not sure how to get there. And I think each of our universities, and we offer things that allow you to find that focus. And we offer you the help to find that focus too. So don't feel like you need to know it all right now. You still have opportunities to take a variety of classes, to try your hands at a few different things, and find out what really resonates with you with those different majors that they're offering. So if you're coming in with an area that you're interested in, that's fantastic. You can start narrowing schools down by that. If you're coming in undecided or undeclared, that's perfectly fine too. You actually don't have to declare your major your first or second year typically with colleges or universities. So I'll let my colleagues speak to that as well, but I think it's really important to know that you might have an idea now, but it could change too.
Yeah, I'm happy to chime in there. Yeah, at CC, we have over 80 areas of study, and definitely students are able to explore in depth. I mean, I think that's definitely an advantage of going to a school where you're able to take courses in different areas and you don't necessarily have to jump right into a major. There are definitely some majors out there, like engineering programs come to mind, among maybe some others that are definitely helpful to start, I think, a little bit earlier, just because they tend to have more requirements. So it's just harder to fit some of those things into 4 years. But yeah, for a school like CC, we want to see students that are open to learning different subject areas. We all know that you may have developed some passions or interests, or maybe want to explore some areas that your high school doesn't offer, such as, there are some high schools I think that have philosophy classes, but perhaps not all. And so definitely being able to pivot and try new things, I think, is something that all of our schools, I think, offer, and definitely have a wide variety of majors, minors, but also just, can I take a class in something that I really want to learn about or that I love, that I know I already love. So I'll stop there because I know we're out of time, unless Megan wants to chime in one last, but thank you so much for your questions and participation as well. We really appreciate your time.
All right, thank you all. Oh, sorry, Megan.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you. It was nice to have you all joining us. We really appreciate it.
And thank you all so much. And thank you especially to our panelists. I know I learned a lot about Colorado today, and I've been there more than a few times. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to our attendees as well. This was a great session. I do want to let you know there's going to be a quick survey as you sign out. Please fill that out, as that feedback is going to be valuable and important to us as we work to make sure this event works for everybody. As well as you can sign up for more sessions at wacac.com. It's a funny name, but short web address. As well as all the recordings will be available there as well and will live there in perpetuity. So please feel free to check that on out, sign up for some more, and gain some great college knowledge. And thank you again to our wonderful panel here.
Thank you.
Good luck with your senior year.
Yeah, thanks everybody.